This podcast is part of the Some Buddies Network. You're never alone when you've got some buddies.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Best Darn Diddly Review Show. This is a weekly podcast for anyone who loves The Simpsons, or ever has loved The Simpsons, hosted by two dudes that grew up on The Simpsons. My name is Miles, better known as Mr. Most Days Off, and today we're gonna do something that we've never done before on the Best Darn Diddly Review Show. We're not gonna talk about The Simpsons, really. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna come up, but, it's not gonna be the primary focus of this episode. But before we get into what we're doing, let me introduce to you, joining me as always, your co-host with the most, Richie the Whiz Kid. How you doing today, Rich?
I am feeling like that awesome present that you know is going to be the greatest thing you've wanted all year long. And then when you open it, it's a freaking shirt. I'm feeling like that guy right now. So you're welcome, everybody. I'm your shirt today.
Why is that? Why are you feeling like clothing for Christmas?
I'm just saying that I'm inevitably going to let everybody down kind of thing for Christmas.
Oh, you're the letdown.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes.
I thought you were feeling let down, and I was like, bro, you thought this was a good idea. Way to throw me under the bus on the podcast.
No. I won't go quite that far. I'll think it the whole time, but I'm not going to say it out loud. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this little in-betweener Christmas special goes. I'm not going to say spectacular, because that's for another. That's for something else that we're not mentioning. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. Mr. the man, the myth, the mischievous elf himself over there. Got to keep it in the fam.
Were you going to say it is Miles or not? Because that's what you...
No. I'm leaving it that as is. We're slightly different today. Okay,
that's like a lot of silence in our first opening minutes. That's a good start. I like that in a podcast.
What's going? I told you I was going to let you down.
No, that's fine. Basically, what's going on today, as you know, last week we had the season 8 finale spectacular, which was fantastic with both Patrick Rahal and Ashes Von Nightmare, which was a fun treat. And as I was uploading that episode, I just noticed there was only 2 weeks left until 2020 when that episode is going to come out, meaning this episode right here would just so happen to be coming out right around Christmas. And what kind of jumped in my mind is every year around the holidays, I personally love watching classic holiday episodes of TV shows. Of course, The Simpsons are a big one of those. We've already discussed my favorite Simpsons episode on this one, where, Bone Storm is all the rage, but Bart gets the putting challenge.
He gets boned.
Yeah. Get Bone Storm or go to hell. But yeah, I watch a lot of just Christmas-themed TV episodes from a whole lot of different shows. And today, Richie and I are just going to talk about some of the other shows that we like to watch around the holidays, other than The Simpsons. So, Richie, I'm going to go ahead and let you start, sir. Do you have any traditions? Well, actually, go ahead and start by telling everyone what you told me when we pitched this idea.
That I do way more movies than TV shows for Christmas. I have a list of movies that I have to watch during December, and then it's usually the week of Christmas where I watch them all because I have been incredibly lazy all month. But there are a few shows that are very near and dear to my heart, and that there's two in particular that I absolutely have to watch. And one of them, it's more recent that I've had to start watching it every year. But there's a few.
Let me see if I can guess your two, and we'll talk about your two regardless if I'm right or wrong.
You know what one of them is because we started that tradition together.
But the new one, I'm going to say... So the one that I know for sure is South Park. We absolutely love Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics. One of the, best. That's a CD. It's an episode. It's a lot. It's wonderful. It's both going to be on our list. We love it. But I'm going to guess the new one for you. Is it the Claymation episode of Community?
Yes, it's that one.
I just watched that today, getting ready for this.
There you go. Also, I really, really like the season 1 Christmas episode for Community.
That's actually my favorite of that show, if you believe it or not. I know everybody loves the Claymation one, and I do as well, but I actually would rank the first one with Anthony Michael Hall being the bully trying to get in a fight, and
Jeffrey kick his ass.
Which makes sense because Community is another one of our absolute favorite shows. I mean, Dan Harmon's a genius, and that show is just so well written, especially the seasons that he's involved in.
Well, all right. I'm done. You ruined both of mine. Yours, 5.5 minutes into this podcast.
Them. See, but I have a thought on this, and I also watch a lot of Christmas movies, and I bet if we were to talk about that, we would have a huge crossover on that list as well. But I feel like I'm gonna say some episodes, some classic episodes from television shows that you're going to at least have seen and probably watch more often than you realize, maybe even annually around this time. But so I'm going to start with the ones that I think that you also would watch, and then we'll kind of move away from those and go to the ones that I'm pretty sure you won't. But yeah, definitely The Simpsons, along with South Park and Community, were all three high on my list. So we've touched those. I also bet that you're pretty fond of the Futurama Christmas episode with Evil Santa Claus.
Yeah. Again, I feel like with that one, it's. I only remember the first one where you're actually introduced to the Santa Claus. I don't remember. I know the Santa Claus popped up in some of the other ones, but I don't remember if there's any other Christmas-themed episodes beside the initial one.
The initial one is the one that I always watch. I will often watch some of the other later episodes of Futurama as well, but that first Evil Santa Claus episode is the one that is a go-to staple for me to have to watch around this time of year.
I can get along with that, for sure.
I'm going to say another one that I'm almost worried is going to put a bad taste in some people's mouth, but it is what it is. It's a very basic show, but it doesn't mean that, honestly, I'll put it in the same boat as Family Guy, which also has a Christmas episode that I don't every year watch, but I do sometimes. But I often talk about how Family Guy, to me, is kind of mindless entertainment, something that I can put on in the background, turn my brain off, and just, enjoy a few stupid laughs. I feel the same way about The Big Bang Theory, but...
That's my honorable mention one.
I absolutely love the Christmas episode where Sheldon is participating in the Secret Santa, and he has to buy he decides rather to buy one of every size gift basket at Bed Bath & Beyond, or what's the place in the mall that every chick in the world loves? It's got lots of lotions. Bath and Body Works.
I thought it was. Yeah.
So Sheldon buys every sized gift basket so that he can appropriately respond to whoever gives him whatever gift. That has such a great ending. It's very funny throughout the episode, but it's a very sweet ending with Penny and Sheldon specifically.
Which I've always argued is the best relationship on that show. They could get rid of all the other stuff, but because the Penny and Sheldon pairing is always the one that's the funniest on that show. But that was I told you I had an honorable mention one, which that one was my honorable mention one because that scene is incredibly sweet, and that's kind of the heart of the show right there. So that's definitely one that I'm not upset when that one's on TV every year around this time of the year.
Yeah, and again, I would say that that's a highlight episode in an otherwise just kind of okay show. I agree with you. Penny and Sheldon is the dynamic of that show that is actually really interesting, and everything else is just kind of very generic. I have a friend once who told me that it was early when that show came on, and this is one of those friends that likes to feel like they're the smartest person in the room. And I remember specifically laughing so hard when I watched this show for the first time because I had remembered this friend telling me how he had discovered this great new sitcom, but it was the humor on it was just so smart, and it was so much more intelligent than other shows on TV. And that person was very confused, because Big Bang is probably the most generic comedy writing on television, but it just happens to be circulated around very intelligent characters. That does not mean that it is smart writing. There's a big difference there.
Man, it kind of feels like you're taking a dump on Big Bang here.
I mean, I don't love Big Bang. I like Big Bang. I don't love Big Bang. I think I think that it's very overrated in a lot of ways. Like I said, it might be specifically just because that asshole that was oh, this is the smartest show on TV, and it's dude, come on.
Watch Rick and Morty, damn it.
Rick and Morty definitely is a step in the right direction in terms of that. That's not even a fair pairing, though. But yeah, so I that's cool that that's your honorable mention. I forgot that you had said.
Oh, hey, Rick and Morty has a Christmas episode.
So actually, I was going to ask whenever we were talking about Community and Dan Harmon came up. I can't remember the Rick and Morty Christmas episode. What is it? I'm sure I've seen it dozens of times, but I cannot place my mind on it right now.
It's the one where the grandparents come in, but they have like the younger lover.
Oh my god! Yeah.
It's the one with isn't that the Jurassic Park ripoff one?
Yeah,
with the homeless guy.
They go inside the homeless Santa Claus. Yep, that's an absolutely wonderful episode. That just got added to my annual list of things I need to start watching at Christmas.
Can't believe there's a good reason we do this podcast, Miles. It's to inspire ourselves.
To go watch more TV and be lazy. That's the inspiration you'll get here at the Best Darn Diddly Review Show.
Christmas special.
So I'm gonna go a little bit old school on the next one. And
I know what's coming.
You know it's coming?
I feel like I know what's coming.
Take a shot. What is it?
Home Improvement.
Hey, it is Home Improvement. Nice, dude. I love Home Improvement. I think it's great. Like it's like Big Bang in a lot of ways, where it's very formulaic and silly. But like I really enjoyed that show when I was a kid. And there's something specifically about Tim Allen, or Tim the Toolman Taylor specifically, his character, like when he gets really competitive with Christmas light decorations. That just really tickles me.
I know, like you alluded to this a while back, and I was thinking, I don't remember any of the storylines because it's been 20 years plus since I've watched Home Improvement, and specifically a Christmas episode, and I could not remember a single plot line from the Christmas episodes, except that I always laughed when he was in a competitive spirit with the Christmas lights. That's all I can remember about those episodes, but I remember always enjoying those moments, and of course the Halloween episodes when I was a kid.
Oh, dude, wait, we'll have to do this another time with Halloween episodes, because my list for Halloween episodes is far, far longer than Christmas. I love Halloween, as you very much know. Honestly, I watch Halloween stuff like year round. So, in fact, just to prove that, I actually save movies like Krampus and Black Christmas. I specifically wait and watch those around Christmas time because it's kind of in the horror genre, but I don't have to I can watch other stuff during Halloween and save that for the holidays. Is my viewing of that or my thinking on that?
That makes sense. I've actually been contemplating adding Krampus to my Christmas watch list every year just because my dad loved that so much.
So good. Your dad always had great taste in movies, and that's an excellent film.
That's why I watch Secret Life of Walter and Mitty during Christmas every year because it came out on Christmas Day, and my whole family went to watch it on Christmas Day, and my dad and I, again, we both love that movie. So
that's got a really good soundtrack too, for what it's worth.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Home Improvement.
We're not talking about movies, though.
Home Improvement is definitely there on the list, but honestly, like you, for the most part, I very much just remember the Tim antics more than I do the actual storylines. I actually had to renew my TABC license this morning, and I just decided to put on a medley of random Christmas episodes to put on in the background while I prepared for this. And one of them was a Home Improvement episode where the kids start their own charity and then end up stealing from the charity, but they're not blatant. It's blatant, but it starts innocently, where they're well, we'll give most of the money to kids and we'll just take this little bit for ourselves. But over time, it gets worse and worse. But it ends when the kids essentially learn their lesson and not only give everything back, but also donate some of the toys that they no longer use and stuff like that to try to improve things down at the shelter.
What terrible, rotten children.
One that I don't think you probably watch every year, but you definitely have seen these episodes. I really love the Office Christmas episodes a lot, especially the Benihana episode.
Those are good. Those are good.
Where Michael, he accidentally mixes up the waitresses at Benihana.
Yeah.
And he tries to mark one with an X.
Oh man, I forgot about The Office. That's a very, very good idea there, Miles. I like where your head's at.
There's several Christmas episodes on that one too. It's not just the one. I know there's one where Michael's really mad because I want to say
Phyllis is
Santa,
told
so
to be
he
Santa Claus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
The pettiness of Michael Scott is often unbelievable.
He's like an overgrown child.
And
that wants everybody to love him.
For what it's worth, at any point, if I happen to spark a memory of some other show that you're like, oh, I didn't think of that, feel free to jump in, because I mean, I'm hoping that like I chisel away and it's some of the shows that you've forgotten. Like, much like, we bury the joys of our childhood. You've just, like, buried that film or that show so
the
far
Christmas
down.
spirit.
Yeah, it's somewhere there under the bah humbug.
No,
go ahead.
Again, it's just this time of year. I don't do this at any other time, not even Halloween. I'll just take a stack of movies off the shelves. I'll stack them up by my DVD player or my Blu-ray player, whatever it's called in this day and age, and then I'll just try to chip away at them throughout the year. And the only DVD that I put up there from a TV show is South Park Season 3.
DVD. Okay, boomer.
But, I mean, you said it's Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics all the way. That's the one that gets me in the holiday spirit.
Oh, so actually going back around to South Park, because I forgot, that as much as I love Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics,
and Poo Poo Train,
I don't think that's my favorite Christmas episode of South Park anymore.
Is it the one where they shock Santa's balls?
Nope.
Oh.
That's another good one. I would put Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classic, or Classics, at a strong number 2 under the Woodland Critters Christmas episode.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is my absolute favorite.
Oh,
Hail
my gosh.
Satan!
You're an evil man, Miles, and that makes perfect sense.
Well, like, that episode is like the Christmas version of Scott Tenorman Must Die, in the just sense that it's all a big evil Cartman plot all along. Just, like, the whole thing.
And Kyle died of AIDS.
Yeah, and then Kyle died of AIDS. He was the only one that didn't have a Merry Christmas.
That's good. Well, what about if we go, like, super old school? Oh, wait, nope, never mind. That's Easter, not Christmas. We're not going down that route.
I'm just curious of what episode you're thinking of, or what show you're thinking of.
I was thinking of the Passover episode of Rugrats.
That's great.
But that's
TV.
Easter.
But yeah, that is Easter, not Christmas.
Yeah.
That is a really good episode, though. Since we probably will never do an Easter special, we'll go ahead and give it a shout out right now.
12 months we're filling you up right now.
Is it okay, real quick tangent, is there another Easter TV show special you can think of off the top of your head? I can think of South Park, where they do the
Chupacabra. Was that Easter?
Which one?
The Chupacabra episode of South Park.
So a couple of, and then that's the only thing I can think of, though. South Park and
then the actual Da Vinci Code episode with the Easter Bunny and the Peeps.
That's the one I said, but those are both
episode.
South Park. I'm trying to think of another show that has done an Easter, to have the South Park and Rugrats be the only two is a pretty unusual coupling if you think about it.
Yeah, maybe people are usually on a break between seasons during that time of the year. I don't know. Or you figure it out.
Maybe it's just way too centered around Jesus, so it's kind of a touchy subject. They're like, we don't really want to dive that hard into it. We'll do something about
I'm sure some yellow-colored family probably has plenty of Easter episodes that we'll review eventually.
Also, I was just thinking, I bet you I can just see Leslie Knope doing like an Easter event on Parks and Rec. Which is not an episode I have listed for Christmas specials. I can't really think of any.
When you said The Office, naturally that's where my mind started progressing to, and I could not think of a Christmas episode either.
I think that there is one where they're having like a party, and Andy what's the Aubrey Plaza?
April,
yeah. Andy Dwyer and April are like doing like a party. They're having like a party or something. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched that show.
So Miles just gave you the synopsis for like half the episodes of Parks and Rec.
Yeah, you know that one. Andy does something dumb and April is like really sarcastic about it. That episode.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
I'm going to say one that I'm almost positive won't be on your list, but I have a feeling it will be on other people's list, and it's really just one. There's several of them, but there's only one that I really love to watch around Christmas time. The show is Boy Meets World. I am a huge fan of that show, and I know you're not as much. There are several Christmas episodes in Boy Meets World. My favorite one by far is the one where Sean accidentally ends up working for the Mafia. I don't know if you're even remotely familiar with that. No. So, like...
Wow, that sounds made up.
No, it's legit. Like, it's winter break, and, like, Corey, gets, like, a gig waiting tables, at, like, an Italian restaurant, And long story short, like, it ends up being, like, an Italian, like, mafia-owned restaurant, and these two, like, mobsters keep just paying. It starts with Corey, he turns it down, but Sean is like, easy money, I'll take it, and then I'll be able to buy gifts for all my friends and family. And he ends up getting paid to, like, wait on, like, this curb by this, like, you know, he's basically delivering packages, and he doesn't know what's in the packages, but the amount he's getting paid implies that it's probably not something legal. There's this big confrontation in the alley between Corey and Sean, and, like, it's super just, like, it's a very much centered on those two's dynamic and friendship, which has always been relatively the same. Corey is, like, your basic suburbanite family. He's kind of the moral compass of the show. And Sean is always floundering a little bit, and Corey has to, like, kind of help him stay on the path, even though he does have a good heart. I think it's a sweet episode, and it's one I like to watch each year.
All right, fair enough. I know that show is very near and dear to your heart. I was not a Disney kid growing up for the most part, so I didn't see shows like that, like, ever. So I was Nickelodeon through and through all the time as a kid. That's all I wanted to watch.
That's fair.
With the occasional Saturday morning cartoon superhero medley that happened every week that was awesome. But I will tell you, here again, in the last, like, 5 years or so, you are inspiring me here like you wanted to. Bob's Burgers, man. There's a few Christmas episodes of Bob's Burgers that I absolutely love. Like the one where the Christmas lights go missing, that's a two-parter, and they end up in some scary backwoods alley in this, like, basement area trying to find all the Christmas decorations for Linda. Like, that episode's really, really good.
I need to dive back into Bob's Burgers. I don't watch that show nearly enough. I always see it's really funny. I
feel like a lot of people take a dump on Bob's Burgers for no reason whatsoever. That show's smart. It's funny. Like, the humor on it gets me. Like, I love all the characters on that show. It's a delight. I enjoy Bob's Burgers.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely on my list. Which, speaking of lists, I actually only have two more shows on the list. One of them I'm confident you've seen, though I doubt you watch frequently.
Confidence.
And then the other one, I have no clue. I feel like it's a show that you would really like if you got into it, but I don't think that you did. And that's 30 Rock with Tina Fey. And specifically the episode that I watch every year is the Luda Christmas episode, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm actually, like, really excited to go and watch this one again soon, because it's been like a year since I've seen it, oddly enough.
Wow.
The Luda Christmas is fantastic. Tracy Jordan, played by Tracy Morgan, of course, is an absolute riot in that. I mean, he's a riot in that show in general, but, like, this might be my favorite. Like, of all the antics he gets into, the Christmas episode might be my favorite.
Yeah, it's you've always been high on that show as well. I think it's just always for me that I would catch reruns on TV and I'd see, like, 15 minutes of it, and shows like that I feel like are helpful to watch from the beginning, so you actually, like, understand who the characters are a little more. And
I will admit that show, like, I really enjoy that show in general, but when I try to binge watch it, I often find myself getting burned out. Like, I enjoy it in, like, short doses more than I do, like, a strong run, which is weird for me. Usually I'm the opposite, so.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can see the style of the show in my head, and I can see getting burnt out on that after a while. It's so fast firing with everything that it can be like a mental strain to keep up so much.
Yeah.
That sounded mean. I didn't mean it that way.
I get what you meant. It sounded negative, but it wasn't meant to be negative. And that I felt the same way about what I said. Like, it's such a smart show, and I think sometimes it's exhausting because of how smartly written it is. Like,
right,
it's like there's so many jokes stacked in that, like, my brain needs, like, a Family Guy break to just, like, let it, like, reset after a little while. So the last show on my list that I'm going to talk about is the oldest show that we've talked about thus far, and it's one that I don't think you're nearly as into it as I was, but not...
Fresh Prince.
I do like that show as well, and I didn't think about Christmas episodes for that, honestly. But no, it's actually The Twilight Zone, which is a show that I actually associate more with New Year's Eve and New Year's Day than I do with Christmas, but there are two specific Christmas episodes that I really, really like. One of them is actually my favorite Twilight Zone episode, period.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is saying something because I love the Twilight Zone. The reason I associate the Twilight Zone with with New Year's instead of Christmas is because I don't know if they still do it. I haven't had cable in so long, but the Sci-Fi Channel used to have a 48-hour marathon of the Twilight Zone every year. It would start right at 12 a.m. on New Year's Eve, and it would play till midnight on New Year's Day, or technically the 2nd of January, I guess you would say. But it was 48 hours straight. It was just nonstop Twilight Zone. And again, this was in an era before we had like DVR even, let alone Netflix or streaming services. So like it was a real treat to be able to like binge watch episodes of the Twilight Zone and really take in a lot of those classics. There's one episode where it's specifically about a Santa Claus, or he's like he basically like turns into Santa Claus in a weird way. I think he's like a toy salesman. And he really loved bringing joy to children, and he basically was visited by the Grim Reaper, and honestly, I need to go back and rewatch it because I'm blanking on the details on this one. But it's a really touching Christmas story about a guy who just wants to, like, give joy to children on Christmas, so it's really sweet. The other episode, which is actually my favorite episode of the Twilight Zone, it's, I can't remember the exact title, but it's like 5 strangers in a room or something like that is what it's called. And basically, I'm going to spoil the shit out of this right now. So just so you know, if you haven't seen it and you want to, I highly recommend it. But even if you have seen it, I mean, like, if you haven't seen it and you get it spoiled, I'd still recommend it. It's such a good episode. But basically, it's 5 complete strangers in a completely windowless and doorless room. They can see that there's an opening at the top, but it's so tall, it's like, fairly unmanageable to get. Long story short, it turns out that that they do escape at the very end, and when they finally pile over the top, it pans out, and we see that it's a toy donation box. And the person that escaped was like a toy, basically, laying on the side, and the people inside, it was like an army general, a cowboy, a ballerina, like very standard, like, toy, motifs, I guess. I'm blanking on like the right word there, but
so it's Toy Story before Toy Story existed.
In a way, yeah, actually, very much so. Like the whole time they're plotting together. It's Toy Story, but they don't know they're Andy's toys. They're just like confused to why they woke up in this room with strangers. It actually, in a lot of ways, reminds me of the movie Cube, if you recall that one, which is a fantastic kind of sci-fi horror film.
I can see the DVD cover art from when I worked at Blockbuster. I threw that in there. Drink. But I don't think I ever watched that one.
Oh, man. Definitely recommend. The first one's great. The second and third one get a little bonkers, but the first one's really, really good. But, yeah. Twilight Zone is going to be my honorable mention. Again, it's more of a New Year's thing for me, which is strange, but I still binge that shit on New Year's.
I remember towards the end of November... Hey, that rhymed. That the way that it worked on TV was you started seeing ads for 14 Days of 007, and then as that was coming to a close, you started seeing ads for the Twilight Zone that would come on New Year's. Like, I could see the ads in my head, and it was just every year there for a good, 4 or 5 year span. That's constantly what I saw on TV during this time of the year, which I love 14 Days of 007. I wish I had a way to just watch that stuff for a few days again.
Yeah.
But that's not TV shows again. Sorry.
No, that's cool. But that's like the type of stuff I am nostalgic for on TV as well. Like, it's weird because, like, I can get a lot of those. I mean, if you want to, you could go and stream all of those James Bond movies. But, like, there's something kind of special about that time where, like, you didn't have that option. You didn't have that. A lot of times you didn't even have, the DVD available or the VHS if you go even further back. So, like, when you got those opportunities to see that type of media and that or presented in that manner, it actually felt special, and I think that's why we attach so many feelings to a lot of those movies and TV things. Like, I like watching old Nickelodeon shows, but one of my favorite things is there's a website that I don't want to say because honestly I'm afraid you people will fucking crash it and ruin it for me, but like it's a site that streams Nickelodeon, but not just Nickelodeon shows. It actually streams, like, people's old VHS recordings of Nickelodeon. So, like, you get the commercials, you get the advertisements, you get the contest, you get the promotions for Nickelodeon Studios and
all
Universal
those contests.
Studios.
Yeah.
You get the Nickelodeon magazine commercials. Like, It's that. And
Wow.
honestly, the shows are great. And they'll always have a special place in my heart. I mean, like, I'm looking at a figure of Rocco's Modern Life with my DVD collection right now sitting next to me. Those will always, be meaningful to me, but it's even more meaningful when I get to watch it in that original format. And, like, it's weird because now as in a society, we do so much to avoid commercials and ads and contests and stuff like that. And that used to be kind of the highlight, and that's like the thing that I'm nostalgic for.
Well, what you just described, is the Disney Vault, sir. We have stuff at our fingertips now where we can stream it, we can get anything we want to, and you're like, I'm good. But when it's something that's limited time, that's going to be gone for a while afterwards, then you're like, oh man, I remember this. This was awesome. I got to have this right now. So it's the Disney Vault effect is what I call that. Fair. That's why they make so much money.
But yeah, that's it for my list, and I know it was a lot longer than yours. Sorry about that, but I'm glad that I did drill some, mine some gold out there that you got to remember some of the episodes that you weren't thinking of. And I'm sure that at some point we'll get around to talking about movies in a similar fashion, and that list will be, probably reversed. I'm largely guessing. But
that would make sense.
This episode is coming out right before Christmas, so for all of you that celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a very, very merry one. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you just have a great week anyway.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays,
Merry Christmas, Happy, Merry, whatever you celebrate. Just, peace, joy, love, and cromulence to everyone. Richie, do you have anything else that you would like to say before you get out of here?
I just want to say, because we touched base on a lot of shows, and we kind of skimmed over, like, we talked very briefly about the Community episodes, but, like, I want to stress the importance and the greatness of the season 1 and 2 Christmas episodes of Community, especially Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas. That claymation episode, like you said, is awesome. It talks about the true meaning of Christmas. Spoiler alert, it's lost season 1, the full DVD set, but it is an amazing episode and definitely brings me Christmas cheer all the time. I feel like I was kind of a downer today, but I do get Christmas joy towards the end of the month here, and I want to stress how much I love that episode. On top of Mr. Hankey's Christmas classics. Again, I know I talk about this all the time. That goes back to Miles and my father. My father absolutely loved singing "Hey There, Mr. Shintoist, Merry Fucking Christmas" all the time. The Mr. Garrison song cracked him up hysterically. Andy loves singing Courtney Cox, "I Love You, You're So Hot" on that show, like Kyle's dad did. I don't even know if he actually liked Courtney Cox, but he just thought that song was so great. So, it's that kind of stuff brings me a lot of joy, but specifically Abed's episode and the Christmas one. But again, Miles and I actually started that tradition, so of course it will be very near and dear to my heart.
Well, all four. I think there's 4 Community Christmas episodes, and they're all great. Honestly, they're
but particularly the first 2, I really love. The Die Hard Christmas one, I'm like, it's not really Christmassy until the very end, but it's still a decent episode. But I love.
There's the Glee episode too, where they're like trying to join G.
Yeah.
That's also pretty funny.
That's pretty funny too, but. Besides that, like Miles said, thank you guys for always listening. Thank you for being a part of this journey. And, of course, we love so many of the episodes that revolve around our favorite family, especially like the older I get, the more I appreciate the very first episode of the show. And we're not supposed to talk about the show on this one, but like I think we have to at least mention how great Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire is.
It all started with the Christmas episode. It wasn't supposed to, but it did. And it worked out brilliantly, obviously, because now 31 years later, they're still going strong.
Absolutely. And Marge Be Not Proud's a good one, too. That's
my favorite.
Wait, sure. Is that the actual name of it? We always mess that one up.
Yeah. That's the one that is my personal favorite. And we actually have one coming up real soon on season 9. There's another Christmas episode. It's only going to be the 3rd one on the show so far. So as of now, it looks like they're averaging 1 for every 3 seasons.
The one that comes to mind is when they burn the Christmas gifts down in the Christmas tree.
That's the one that we'll be reviewing here shortly.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait, and the one where they create a new toy and then...
That one's a few seasons away.
Is that Gary Coleman that comes and helps out?
We'll talk about it on the show.
Okay.
All right, well,
back to you, Miles.
That's going to do it for this week's Best Darn Diddly review show. I guess it really wasn't much of a review show as much as it was just like a Best Darn Diddly chat about Christmas episodes. That's what we'll call this one. But thank you guys so much for joining in. Thank you for tuning in all year, all season long, for the last 8 seasons that we recorded. Thank you. It means so much. Please continue supporting us by listening each week, telling your friends and family, anyone that you know that likes The Simpsons or ever has liked The Simpsons, spread that along. Hey, maybe you want to give us a little extra Christmas cheer this year. Check out patreon.com/bestdarndiddly. And of course, we will be back again next week, but I did say there was 2 weeks before 2020 started, and I do like starting things like with synchronicity, so, maybe we'll have another little bonus episode next week. We'll get back to you on that, but we do have Season 9 coming right around the corner, and in fact, it's going to be the episode Homer versus New York, which is going to be real interesting to talk about for a lot of reasons, but that's enough for this episode. We will be back again next week, one way or the other, so tune in to the Best Darn Diddly, either Season 9 kickoff or bonus episode of the holidays number 2.
And remember, during the holidays, don't be a ho ho ho.
Until next time, Merry Christmas.